Okay, what's going on, everybody? We are here, we are live, and man, today is a good day because when they said Donald Trump said it was going to be a bloodbath, it's going to be a bloodbath. I guess they weren't lying, you know. I guess they weren't lying. It definitely is a bloodbath, not in him losing, but in his winning effort, completely destroying and annihilating Kamala Harris in this year's election. So it was definitely a bloodbath, just not the way that they said it was going to be. So now, what I want you all to do, I need to take a moment to grab my liberal tears. Okay, my liberal tears are hot and ready, right? And as I'm grabbing my liberal tears that are hot and ready, please hit the like button if you haven't done that already. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel, and share this video out on your social media platforms. And also, as per usual, please follow me on Telegram at TD Media Group. Now, let me grab my hot liberal tears, and then we're going to get back into the discussion. Just give me a moment, please. Okay, let's get it started, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get it started because the tears are flowing in these internet streets from liberals, the DNC press, Roland Martin, and the like. Oh, the tears are flowing and it's hot and sweet. Can you see the steam coming out of there? Can you see the steam? You see that? Give me just a moment, please. Just a moment. One more time. One more time. One more time. One more time. Yeah, tastes great. Tastes amazing. Tastes amazing, doesn't it? I want to highlight this comment that I saw right here from Bonnie Bird. Glad to see you here, Miss Bonnie. Bonnie Bird said, "For all the elite in Hollywood that promised to leave the country if Donald Trump was elected, please leave in an orderly fashion. GTFO." That perfectly summarizes really the theme of today's kind of live stream, right? The theme is going to surround fear mongering being dead. Fear mongering is 100% dead because that was what the DNC ran on, and they failed miserably. And just like Bonnie Bird said, I'm going to need all of you who claimed you're going to leave the country if Trump won. Please do so in an orderly fashion and get the F out of here. Please get the F all the way out of here. Now, before I get into kind of the main, you would say the meat of today's show, right? Just concerning, like I said, the theme being fear mongering is dead, right? I want to highlight this. People love talking about character and Donald Trump's character. Oh, he has such poor character, la 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 la. Look at how fake and phony Kamala Harris is. Do you guys know that, number one, she hasn't, called Trump to congratulate him at all. So poor sportsmanship from someone that's supposed to be like high and mighty and heavenly and angelic that came down from heaven to save us and save democracy, right? But outside of that, I'll give her that. I'll give Kamala Harris that she's not going to call Donald Trump to congratulate him. But do you guys know that Kamala Harris left her watch party at Howard University early? She left early and left all her supporters stranded. If that doesn't say everything you need to know about the woman, I don't know what else does. She was having her watch party at an HBCU, historically black college, the college that she went to. What she was looking to do was that if she won the election, she was going to black it up, because we all know that she's a biracial Indian woman that was cosplaying as being black. So if she won, she was going to carry on with that joke and that gag that she's black and have the watch party at Howard University. But when she saw that she lost, and it was clear that she lost because it's a bloodbath, she literally left all of her supporters stranded. What happened? You're not black anymore? What happened to all the blackity black talk? What happened to all the black woman talk? We have to have the first black female president and all that kind of stuff. I want you guys to see, and especially black folks, you black folks that voted for Kamala Harris, look at how fast she dropped her black card like a bad habit. The moment she lost the election, all that blackety black stuff went right out the window, and she left you all at an HBCU, historically black college. She left you all hanging. She didn't even have enough dignity to come out and thank you guys for the support that you gave her. She didn't even have enough dignity to do that because she never cared about you to begin with. And because she was never black to begin with. She was just playing a role. She was just playing a part. And once it didn't work, she said, I'm done with this. Whatever with you guys. And she took off. Such a shining example of leadership, isn't it? But then they like to talk about Donald Trump and say he's this, he's that, and the third. Meanwhile, you have someone like Kamala, who is just the epitome of a sore loser. Imagine not even going out to thank your supporters. Now, let's shift away from that because I don't want to take too much time with that as much as I want to highlight the fact that fear-mongering is dead. Because fear-mongering is dead. And I think this is a very important thing to highlight because I do believe, and I see my man Rob is in the building, and I'm going to get to the super chats at the end of the stream, but thank you all for your support. I deeply appreciate it. Where's my man Rob at? Back when I used to allow, this is Black Light Revelations, right? Back when I used to allow this guy on my main channel here, Rob's not allowed on the main channel anymore. But back when he used to be allowed on the main channel, some of you guys might remember if you've been subscribed long enough, back in those days, the good old days, we did a live stream on this channel in which we discussed, and Rob is the one who brought this to my attention, as he brings a lot of things to my attention, right? A subset of Democrats called the New Democrats. I don't know how many of you all remember that. I'm sure Rob does, though. The New Democrats are a subgroup of Democrats that essentially are moderate Democrats. They're a group of moderate Democrats that are trying to, I don't want to say take over the Democrat Party because that's too strong of a word. It's too, extra, right? But they're trying to make their mark, kind of like how the Squad tried to make their mark, even though as far as I'm concerned, the Squad was fraud and phony from the beginning. I saw right through AOC from the beginning. I'm not sure how so many people got fooled by her. She was clearly DNC to the core from the very beginning. But my point is that the New Democrats are a group of moderate Democrats that are looking to take the lead and take the charge of the Democrat Party. And it's very clear to me and obvious to me that that is the direction that they're going to slowly be creeping to next after we've watched the fear-mongering of the DNC that they've put forward for so many years collapse so miserably, because not only did Donald Trump win the election as it pertains to the Electoral College, he won the popular vote. He won the popular vote. The people essentially revolted against the DNC and said, no, we're not doing this today, okay? Not today. I want to play this video of Joe Scarborough. We're going to start the stream with Joe, and we're going to end it with Joe. And the reason we're going to start the stream with Joe and we're going to end it with Joe is because with this first video that I'm going to play here from Joe Scarborough, let me pull it up. Here it goes right here. With this first video that I'm going to pull up here, you're going to see extreme fear-mongering overload from Joe. This was during the election, right? Yesterday. But now, not even 12 hours after Trump was victorious, he goes from fear-mongering to backpedaling and wanting to end wokeness. He wants to end cancel culture. He wants to get men out of women's sports. All of a sudden, you're backtracking in less than 12 hours. That is amazing. And if that doesn't signal that fear-mongering is dead, especially coming from Joe on the parody news channel MSNBC, I don't know what does. So let's start with this here. Let's listen to this raving lunatic go in on a fear-mongering tirade during the election yesterday. Let's listen to this foolishness very quickly.
Have an electorate, 70 million plus, that will be voting for a man who said he was going to assassinate for treason the chairman of the Joint Chiefs because he didn't support him on January the 6th, who has said just in recent days he was going to execute Liz Cheney with a firing squad, 9 guns pointed and shooting.
He never said he was going to execute Liz Cheney with a firing squad. Oh my God.
At her face, a man who has said that he was going to shut down CBS because he didn't like how they edited an interview, a man who said he was going to be a dictator from day one, a man who said he was going to terminate the Constitution, a man who said he was going to use the Army and he was going to use the National Guard on his political opponents.
Donald Trump literally never said he was going to use the National Guard on his political opponents. This is fear-mongering overload, fear-monger overload. Let's let it go for a little bit longer because this was during the election early yesterday.
I literally could go on all day, and yet you talk to Trump voters and they'll go, he didn't say that. Wait, now I didn't hear him. And then you say, well,
because he didn't say that. How many times have you all seen me do the compare and contrast where they said it's going to be and then I play what the bloodbath is, right? Oh, there's good people on both sides. We all saw the actual video on it when he said, and I'm not talking about the white supremacists. This stuff has been countered so easily numerous times over. And they're trying to convince you that we don't see and hear what we don't actually see and hear. You're telling me something that he did not say. But when I pull it up and I say, no, he didn't, and here's the proof of it, their response is, well, you see, this is why we need to hold social media companies accountable because we can't push our propaganda forward, right? And you're going to see right now as we transition over now, because I don't want to listen to Joe anymore. We're done with him, right? Who's the next best up in line on MSNBC after Joe? You know we have to go with Joy Reid. We're going to go from Joe to Joy Reid. And I want you to listen. Matter of fact, no, I do want to finish playing Joe now that I think about it, because he's going to go from this fear-mongering tirade to insulting the American population. Watch this.
Wait, now I didn't hear him. And then you say, well, here's the quote. And then they'll go, yeah, he didn't mean that. So there's something far more long-lasting than just Donald Trump, the candidate. There is a sort of Russian embrace of disinformation, a radical devaluing of truth over the last 9 to 10 years, and a complete ignorance on civics and what the term Madisonian democracy even means, what checks and balances even means, what judicial review even means.
Now when he's going on this civics, giving us this little civics class, he's insulting you. He's literally telling you, you are all so stupid that you have succumbed to Russian disinformation and you don't even know anything about civics. You don't know anything about Madisonian democracy. You don't know about checks and balances. You don't know what this means. You don't know what that means. And you wonder why everyone essentially turned on you. You wonder why the population at large went straight to Donald Trump. Everything that comes out of your mouth is a lie. And then after that, you turn around and start literally insulting over half of the American population by trying to prop yourself up as being so smart, so wise, so high and mighty. You guys don't know anything about civics. You don't know anything about, what is the Madisonian democracy? I don't even know what Madisonian democracy is. I've never heard of that. But what I do know is that Trump won in a bloodbath. And that's all that really matters, right? That's all that really matters. I don't know what Madisonian democracy is. I've never heard of that before. I don't know anything about civics, but I know how to go to a voting booth and vote for Donald Trump. That's what I do know how to do. And I want you to see how the insults continue, right? Listen to the insults continue. Look at what Joy Reid has to say right now on this clip here as she addresses half of the country. Let's listen to this right here.
The last 2 weeks and the things that Donald Trump has said into the TV that people could hear him say and do, the vulgarity in front of families with young children, and the threats to do mass deportation and a violent start to his dictatorship on day one, and you name it. If all of that gets you half of the votes,
49%.
What does it tell you? I mean, we need to really take a step back and think about, what does that say about us?
I think
it tells you that nobody believes you. It tells you that people are sick and tired of the fear mongering and the lies. That's what it tells you. But look at how Joy Reid still scrambles to hold on to the Project 2025 nonsense and all of the fear mongering. Listen to what she says about Florida. That sounds completely ridiculous and absurd.
Project 2025 in miniature.
Let me rewind that back. She's calling Florida pure Project 2025 in miniature.
It's a pure Project 2025 in miniature in Florida. And that kind of extreme, sort of extremist, right-wing, fascist type government in Florida, does that make it a more attractive place?
An extremist, fascist, right-wing governance in Florida? I'm curious, are there any people from Florida in the live chat? Are you guys living under a fascist dictatorship over there? Are the people of Florida living under a mini Project 2025? She's just scrambling for anything at this point, because like Kamala Harris, she doesn't even know how to articulate herself unless she's articulating herself through the script that her handlers have given her. This is why she does it herself. She doesn't even have an original thought. Project 2025, Project 2025, fascist, Project 2025, fascist. Can you say anything else outside of Project 2025, fascist? Okay, what else I can say? Mini Project 2025. Florida is a mini Project 2025. They're living under right-wing extremist fascism. What are you talking about? Stan Sr. says, I live in Florida and I love it here. Well, Stan, that's because you love fascism, okay? Stan, you love fascism, and you're living under Project 2025, and you don't even realize it. You don't even realize it, right? And apparently, we all voted for fascism yesterday. I voted 100% for fascism. I voted for Project 2025. I voted for a convicted felon, 34 times convicted, if I'm not mistaken. But look at how, once again, just to reel it on back in, they're sticking to a script. Shout out to David Allen. He says, I love Florida. Dominique LeBeau said Fort Lauderdale. See, Florida's in the house. It looks like everybody's loving their mini Project 2025 over there. But and living under, they're living under their little extremist fascism, if you let Joy Reid tell it, right? But I want you to see how, once again, Joy Reid, like Kamala Harris, is very much so operating off of a script. And because she hasn't been given her new script yet of how to articulate whatever the new DNC talking points are, in a losing effort where fear-mongering has failed miserably, you see her grasping for straws, saying that half the population is blind. Joe Scarborough saying that you're all stupid and you've fallen under Russian disinformation. You don't know anything about civics. And she's grasping for straws so much so that she's looking for anywhere that she can point to and say Project 2025 is real and fascism is real, something that we clearly see is not real with Donald Trump. But she's grasping for straws trying to prove this point, which is a failed point to prove, by pointing at Florida, saying that, well, look at Florida. They're a mini Project 2025, and they have right-wing extremist fascism. Meanwhile, I have however many people in my live chat right now that currently live and reside in Florida, and they tell me that they love it there. This is why they're falling apart so miserably. I want to shift over to this woman. I forgot what her name is, but this is a woman who really gets like her rocks off on calling Donald Trump the man with the small mustache. I want to come into this part here because I want us to listen to what she has to say. Let's get into this right here. And also hit the like button if you haven't already. That's extremely important. And subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. And for the supporters showing love on Super Chat with the Super Chat, thank you very much. I will be reading them at the end of the stream, but I do appreciate everyone's support. Let's get into this video clip right now.
About exactly the question that you're asking is one that I've been catching a lot of heat for answering on air, and we've been talking about this in the last week or two. You're talking about the propaganda campaign and the playbook of Trump. This is not new. This is not surprising. This is directly out of Hitler's playbook. This is out of an autocrat playbook.
Once again, they haven't been given their new talking points yet. Trump is clearly blowing Kamala Harris out the water at this point, and they all knew Trump was going to win at that point. But because they haven't received their new script, he's a man with a small mustache. This is an autocratic playbook. He's a fascist. We don't know what else to say.
This is a way to, I mean, the things that Trump has done masterfully, frankly, is to get the entire, to get a big part of the population to believe that the game is rigged and to sow distrust in public institutions and the free press.
No, you've done that. You've done that. Referring to Trump as the man with the small mustache, as this woman loves to do. She loves to do that. There are so many clips of her doing that. Referring to him as the man with the small mustache is the equivalent of like falsely accusing a man of violating a woman, we'll say. The word begins with an R, but you know what I'm talking about. It's equally as bad. There is nothing worse that you can do to a man, literally in this life. Well, I won't say maybe there's nothing worse. Maybe there's some things that might be higher. It depends on you. But to me, there's nothing worse if you want to destroy a man that you can do to him than falsely accuse him of being a violator of women, when that is completely 100% not true, because that is the most atrocious thing you can do in this world as a man. The most atrocious thing you can do. Now, in comparing that to calling Trump the man with the small mustache, there is nothing more atrocious that you can do in this world as a leader of a nation than to conduct yourself as the man with than to conduct yourself like the man with the small mustache. The man with the small mustache, I know that's annoying, I keep saying that, but the man with the small mustache, he committed one of the most horrific atrocities in modern world history. To call Trump that, in which he doesn't compare to him on any level, is beyond absurd. And what we saw is that the people rejected it. The people rejected it. That's what happened. And once again, that's why you lost so miserably. That's why you lost so miserably. Are we buffering? No buffering. It looked like I thought people were saying that we're buffering. Give me just a moment while I pull this up on my screen here just to double check. We're not buffering? Okay. You guys had me buffering for a minute. It said buffering. I was like, trying to read the comments. Okay. So, but anyways, the point is that like, that is the most absurd comparison that you can give to somebody when they're not conducting themselves that way. We already had Trump as president for 4 years. There was no fascism, there was no dictatorship, and he definitely on no level was he comparable to the man with the small mustache. So to say something that's stupid and idiotic is an immediate repellent. It's an immediate repellent because the people are rejecting it because you're saying something that is so wildly untrue. But let's let this woman carry on and finish what she has to say.
That is a tried and true playbook that we have seen time and time before that has resulted in really disastrous things for society. And that is what's working. And so it's actually quite simple. When you tell a big enough lie over and over and over, people are going to believe it, even when folks around him like Rudy Giuliani and others have literally been found liable for telling those lies that weren't true. The public still believes it, and the whole goal was to erode trust in our public institutions, and it's working.
Okay, please stop talking. No, when you tell a big enough lie over and over again, people stop believing it. You see, when Trump first ran for president in 2016, they lied on him. They said different things about him, but it wasn't anywhere near to the degree to what we saw this time around, right? And people voted him in. Nobody wanted Hillary. People didn't like her. They view her as being corrupt. You have this new guy who seems like somewhat of a breath of fresh air, look like someone who's going to kind of, as people would say, buck the system, and they voted him in. Then 2020 rolls around and they start rolling out their fear-mongering talking points. And you can say 2020 magic aside, because we all know 2020 magic was in play in 2020, right? Mail-in ballots to the rescue. But that aside, a lot of people fell for the fear-mongering in 2020. They fell for it, especially surrounding the great illness of 2020, saying that if you vote Donald Trump into office, he's going to get us all killed, right? Because he doesn't know how to manage this illness that's happening right now. So out of fear, many people flocked to Biden and then came to extremely regret it after flocking to him. Many people flocked to Biden. Everyone had buyer's remorse afterwards. So now you're watching the effects of that buyer's remorse, because going into this year, 20 election 2024, they didn't just double down on the fear mongering, they quadrupled down on the fear mongering, quadrupled down on it. And this time around, the people didn't go for it, because once again, you could only lie to somebody long enough. And when you lie long enough, at a certain point, they're just not going to believe you anymore. So when she's sitting here talking about people don't have confidence in the press because of Donald Trump's lies, no, people don't have confidence in the press because of your lies. It was very insulting to sit and watch the mainstream media press run cover for Kamala Harris the way that they did. It was very insulting to all of our intelligence to sit there and fact check on every single thing that comes out of Donald Trump. If you ask Donald Trump what time it is, and he told you it's 10:13, whatever live feed you're watching will immediately be interrupted, and they'll say, up, fact check, no, it's not 10:13. Donald Trump is a liar. It's actually 10:14. He gets fact checked for everything. But when it comes to Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, everything is just the God's truth. Really? We've never seen the mainstream media press shield their political, we've never seen the mainstream media press shield a Democrat and repel all type of criticism away from them to the degree that we have seen it this election. This was the most egregious campaign that we have ever seen concerning media bias. We've never witnessed anything like that before. And it was an insult to all of our intelligence. Henceforth, people rejected it en masse, to which you have Donald Trump winning the popular vote. That's what we have here. And now when you have fear-mongered for so long and you see it's to no avail, now you're looking stupid like this. Now you're looking like this. Now you look like Whoopi. You're staring in the camera going, so that didn't work. Where do we go from here? What do we do now? Let's listen to a couple of these clips coming from The View, because they're coping pretty bad over there. They really don't know what to do and what to say, and they're all just really looking kind of stupid like this. Let's hear what Whoopi has to say.
So, how you feel? I'll start. Yeah, go ahead. My takeaway is that the system works. We live in a democracy. Mm-hmm.
I thought we were trying to save democracy. You see the backtracking? Not even 12 hours later, they're already backpedaling from their talking points. We see that the system works. We have a strong democracy? I thought Donald Trump was a fascist. He was the man with the small mustache that we all needed to be protected from. If he wins, that would be the end of democracy. Now, all of a sudden, we have a strong democracy? Interesting. The backpedaling is quite interesting.
Live in a democracy. People spoke. This is what people wanted. I vehemently disagree with the decision that Americans made, but I feel very, very hopeful that we have a democratic system in this country. We should value it. We should love it. We should protest if the situation arises that we need to protest, which I'm sure it will. And I've been through this before with Nixon. It's been very difficult, but boy, oh boy, do we have a country if we can keep it.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to hear any of that, okay? You said that democracy was on the ballot. This man was a tyrant. Project 2025 was going to rain down on our heads the next day. None of that happened. None of it is going to happen. And you're already watching them slowly backpedal. You're already watching them backpedal off of all of the ridiculous talking points and fear mongering that they were pushing forward. Let's get into some more whoopee. I want to play this clip for you right here because this is hilarious. They're so upset on The View, big mad, that Whoopi Goldberg, just to save face for Kamala, essentially attempts to give her a participation award. Once again, this is how you end up looking really stupid when you have been pushing lies for years and now it all has fallen flat on its face. Listen to this. Let's give Kamala Harris her participation award from Whoopi Goldberg.
And think about this. She did this in 2 months.
She failed in 2 months. Yes, it was a bloodbath. It's going to be a bloodbath. It was a bloodbath. Yes, she failed in 2 months. Yeah, you're correct.
For that. And think about this. She did this in 2 months. She did this in 2 months.
She left it all on the field. Yes, she did.
She
She had 2 months to memorize her script and still couldn't do it. Every time Kamala Harris opened her mouth, she sounded like a 2-year-old that was struggling to read. Okay? She sounded like, or I should say, a second grader who was struggling to read every time she opened her mouth to recite her ridiculous talking points about how she grew up in a middle-class family with a manicured lawn, and we all took care of our lawn. She had 2 months to memorize her lines and couldn't do it. Not even Tim Walz can do it. That's why they hid him in the basement closet. You didn't see this guy. We saw him but a handful of times, and he was gone. This was the once I said this so many times before. This ticket between Kamala Harris and Tim Walz was the most bozo the clown short bus ticket that I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen anything like it. Having two people, one running for president, one running for vice president, who can't articulate a simple sentence to save their life. She had 2 months to be able to just memorize simple lines, and you couldn't even do that. But carry on with the participation award, Whoopi. Let us know why she deserves it.
did this in 2 months.
She left it all on the field. Yes, she did.
She everybody can always say, oh, she should have done this, she should have done this, She did what she did. She was everywhere. She talked to everybody. And people didn't come out. I don't know why. And it doesn't even matter. He's now the president. I'm still not going to say his name. That's not going to change.
You don't have to say his name. He's still the president of the United States. Look at how they're pretending to not understand why no one voted for Kamala. You're pretending to not know. You know why. Because fear mongering is dead. As I said at the top of the stream, it's dead. It's over with. It doesn't work anymore. Now, something that is a bit humorous that I found. Where are the white women at? Where are the white women at? We protect white women at all costs, okay? Because the liberal media are raking white women through the coals right now. They are throwing white women under the bus and raking it. She said, here I am. Protect white women at all costs. Shout out to JD. We need to protect her because she is being viciously attacked on liberal media. They are being viciously attacked. They're blaming everything on white women who voted for Trump. And they're going in on Hispanic men a bit too. And they are going in on men overall, you know, because I guess we're all misogynists, because that's why we didn't want to vote for Kamala, you know what I mean? Because we're a bunch of misogynistic pigs. But they're really throwing white women under the bus. And this clip that I'm going to play right here, listen to what Sunny Holston had to say that actually triggered one of her white co-hosts, referring to the women who voted for Donald Trump as uneducated. Let's get into this here. And the point of showing you this here is that they're starting to eat themselves, right? Now the liberals are starting to eat themselves. Let's get into this.
I want to dig further into the demographics because black women tried to save this country again last night. 92% of black women voted for the vice president. You have Latinas in the 70 percentile voting for the vice president. What we did not have is white women who voted about 52%, right, for Donald Trump. Uneducated white women is my understanding. You have Latino men actually voting more for him, and you have and black men was not the story. We're not the story here because they voted almost 80% for the vice president. Right. So why do you think that uneducated white women voted against their reproductive health?
She getting off on saying that uneducated white women. She think it's funny.
Almost 80% for the vice president. Right. So why do you think that uneducated white women voted against their reproductive health freedoms, and why do you think Latino men voted in favor of someone that's going to deport, says he's going to deport the majority of his community?
White women like being called uneducated white women. I think the economy matters, national security matters.
Uh-oh. They're starting to eat themselves. Oopsies. They're starting to eat that. I don't think white women like to be called uneducated because they voted for Trump. They're starting to eat themselves. Here we go. Not only are they starting to backtrack just a little bit from their talking points, but now they're starting to eat themselves.
It's going to deport, it says he's going to deport the majority of his community.
White women like being called uneducated white women. I think the economy matters, national security matters. But when you put people in these boxes, I think that's a takeaway from this race.
We have to look at the demographics of it.
We just have to look at the demographics of it. I mean, they're white, they're women, and they're uneducated, according to Sunny. This has been happening a lot on liberal media. They've been dragging white women all last night and all day today. They're besides themselves because they can't imagine that you guys voted against your reproductive rights. How crazy are you? But even harping now more on how they're eating themselves, look at the little infighting that's not just happening here on The View. But look at this quick clip here from CNN. I want you to watch this here. Look at this. I found this very humorous.
And then, Karen, if that has nothing to do with whether or not we won. The point, my point is, we can't. You're going to get in a time machine and go back 4 years.
The vice president win if the economy was so great?
That's not the point I'm making. The point. Don't look at me like that.
What's the point?
Ooh, sassy. Don't look at me like that.
The vice president win if the economy was so great?
That's not the point I'm making. The point. Don't look at me like that.
What's the point?
The point that I'm trying.
They're eating themselves. They're starting to eat themselves. The infighting is beginning. When the lies and foolishness fall apart and you don't know where to go from here, you eat each other and you turn on one another. They are completely falling apart. They're falling apart.
Your candidate win, then, Karen, if
that has nothing to do with whether or not we won. The point. My point is, we can't. You're going to get in a time machine and go back 4 years.
The vice president win if the economy was so great?
That's not the point I'm making. The point. Don't look at me like that.
What's the point?
The point that I'm trying to make is that where we were in 2017 and 2018, we can't just get in a time machine and go back.
Your message didn't resonate.
I said that.
And I think to try to pretend and paint a picture, and Bakari, I get your points in terms of the charts. I get it. I'm a numbers guy. But most people are saying, I get the numbers. I don't have a 401k. I'm not invested in the stock market.
I was just saying. That's enough of that. I want to get to knowledge born supreme. He said, so basically what she's saying is Hispanic men save the country. In a nutshell, that's what Sonny said. In a nutshell, Sonny said Hispanic men saved the country. In a nutshell. She tried to paint it off by saying black women tried to save the country. But the reality is, if you're going to go by Sonny's logic concerning how Hispanic men really kind of swung the vote over to Trump, then I guess you can argue the point that Hispanic men saved the country. I think that's the point that you can argue, knowledge born supreme. But now as we round it out, we started the stream off with the fear mongering, addressing the fact that fear mongering is dead. It clearly doesn't work. It's insulting to the intelligence of the American population as a whole. And with that understanding, we've gone from the extreme fear mongering to them slowly backtracking their talking points to even collapsing on each other and arguing with each other. And now what you're going to see here, we started with Joe, we're going to end with Joe. Watch Joe Scarborough now start to backtrack from woke talking points, you can say, right? He's going to start trying to backtrack and say, he's going to say how we need to end cancel culture, something that they created. How men shouldn't be in women's sports. Oh, really? So you guys don't stand on any of that anymore? All of a sudden, don't believe me? Let Joe tell it. I'll let Joe tell it. And please hit the like button if you haven't already. That's extremely important to the growth of this channel. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. That's extremely important. And follow me on Telegram. That is extremely important as well. At TD Media Group. The link to my Telegram is in the description box below, and it should be pinned in the live chat also. Please do that. That helps to circumvent censorship on social media, and it helps to circumvent shadow banning on YouTube, so you won't have to say, oh, I haven't gotten any of your notifications. Well, if you're on Telegram, you'll get every notification. But now let's get into this right here. Let's listen to Joe Scarborough backtrack from all of the liberal DNC talking points right now.
A little deeper, because you have that stacked on top of what happened on college campuses this fall, stacked on top of what's been happening on college campuses over the past 4 or 5 years. I have said this on the air, and every time I've said it, people said, oh, you're just saying that because you're a white conservative. No, I'm just saying it because every Democrat that we have ever sat down with dinner with over the past 5 years who have kids that go to colleges say their kids are afraid to speak in class because they'll be canceled. Let me say that again. And they're all Democrats. Everybody that we've had dinner with, if they have a kid in college, you go, how the Red Sox going? Yeah, fine, yeah. Sitting there eating. Beautiful day today, wasn't it? Yeah. You know, my daughter at University of Virginia, she's afraid to raise her hand in class because if she says something that's politically incorrect, she will immediately be canceled.
But that's the environment that you created. Watch them backpedal from these talking points now, because where do you go from here? Where do you can't get any more extreme than all of the foolishness that we heard directed towards Donald Trump. And when that doesn't work, where do you go from here? Well, you start backtracking. You start backpedaling. You start wanting to get more moderate. You start saying stuff like, I'm a conservative white man, when Joe Scarborough is the farthest thing from conservative. You're not conservative pushing MSNBC nonsense. No, you're not. Stop calling yourself conservative. You are the farthest thing from that. Now you're sitting here trying to backtrack and say that you want to end a toxic environment. They love that word toxic, right? Now you want to put an end to a toxic environment that you created. That's what you created. But since it didn't work, now let's backtrack.
Beautiful day today, wasn't it? Yeah. You know, my daughter at University of Virginia, she's afraid to raise her hand in class Because if she says something that's politically incorrect, she will immediately be canceled. She'll be shunned from class. She'll be destroyed in social media by noon. So they just sit in class quiet. Now, if any of you, which camera? Give me a camera to look at. Boom! Oh, look at that one. If any of you out there say, oh, that's just like a conservative, white, Southern guy, da-da-da, that's what you're losing. That's what you're losing. Because that's what I heard. And I didn't hear it from Republicans. I didn't hear it from Trumpers. I heard it from Democrats over the past 3 or 4 years. Their kids were afraid to talk in class and say something unpopular because they would be canceled. And it's an epidemic. Willie will tell you it happens in New York City schools. It happens in colleges. And all of this
what he's admitting is that not just do woke talking points, right, as you would say, these woke talking points and cancel culture, not only is he now backtracking and saying this, it's a negative thing, but he's highlighting how this is a problem in New York. Well, New York is a liberal city. So if these talking points and toxic environments that you created is a problem in your liberal city, and your liberal city is literally underwater due to the migrant crisis and the policies, liberal policies that you support and that you guys push and rule under, then what does that say about liberals overall? What does it say overall? Talking points trash. Your policies are trash. City is trash. What does that say about you overall? Yeah, I would start backpedaling too if I was Joe. I would start backpedaling too.
What's up? The people going, come on, this is crazy. Yeah. And Mike, it's having an impact from, again, the trans ad to, the athletics. And by the way, as we've said on the show 1,000 times, Democrats should be smarter on the women's athletics thing. 85% of Americans oppose men transitioning after puberty and competing against women. And I'm not just saying this the day after the election. I've been saying this for years.
No, you haven't, but carry on.
This is not a hard call. You can show compassion and you can show grace. And as the Republican governor of Utah said, let's figure out a way to do this. But one way we don't do this is by allowing men who transition after puberty competing against young girls who have been working their entire lives to be as good as they can be, and then they get destroyed in the pool, on the track, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
They are turning on each other. They are turning on each other. They're turning on their own talking points. They're eating themselves on live television. You're watching the DNC completely collapse on live television on every one of their networks in 4K. Over the fact that Trump overwhelmingly destroyed Kamala Harris. It was truly a bloodbath. It's going to be a bloodbath. It was a bloodbath. It was ugly. He destroyed her, as many of us knew she would be destroyed. We all knew that. And we're seeing that once again in closing, because fear-mongering is dead. Where they go from here, the only place that they can go to from here once again is they're going to start slowly creeping in a moderate direction. I need to make it a point to revisit that subgroup called the New Democrats that I talked about earlier at the top of the stream. That subgroup of moderate Democrats that are looking to kind of really make their way forward in the DNC, because that's really the only direction that they could go to next, especially if Trump does the things that he says that he's going to do and the economy truly gets better. People have more money in their pocket. Their money is going farther. If that's the case, and Trump is successful in all that he's attempting to accomplish, especially concerning the economy, the only way for them to go next is to go to moderate route. And you're going to see those new so-called New Democrats pop up, right? The same way, what was it? 6 years ago, we saw the Squad emerge out of nowhere. Now you're going to see this new crop of Democrats referring to themselves as the New Democrats that are moderates popping up. But we'll see how that plays out moving forward. And with all that being said, that does it for today's stream. So thank you all for joining me today. I want to make sure to give my thank you. So now I'm going to go through the super chats, answer a couple questions, and read a couple statements. Please, if you're going to take off, hit the like button on your way out and subscribe to the channel. If you're new here, please do that. And also follow me on Telegram. I can't stress how important that is. If you have Telegram, please follow me on Telegram at TD Media Group. The link is in the description box below, and it should be pinned in the live chat. Please do that. That is extremely important. I'm literally begging you, follow me on Telegram if you're on Telegram. So now let's go through these super chats, man. Let's get into it. I got to give my thank yous. I can't leave without giving my thank yous. Fan Ranking said, I need all the K-Hive tears. I got time to tear. Oh, I got all the K-Hive tears right here, man. Let me get some of these K-Hive tears for you. K-Hive tears taste so sweet. They taste so sweet. Jack said, I'm so happy Kamala lost, but even more so that we'll never have to see Karine Jean-Pierre again. She was annoying. Trump will fix this country. Karine Jean-Pierre is really annoying, but I am thrilled that that Kamala Harris will be finished in politics, because we're not going to see her again. It's over. Like, they won't even bring her on as like a correspondent or, you know, a contributor on a news show. She's going to just completely disappear at this point. Mr. Inglewood 77 stated, Kamala on her best Fantasia. If you don't want me, then don't talk to me. Today. So if you don't want me, don't talk to me. Yeah, she's definitely on her best Fantasia impersonation. Shout out to Famously Blacker for coming through. He said, you're appreciated. I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate you for coming through and showing me support as you do frequently on this channel. Thank you, Famously Blacker. I appreciate you too. The Lion and the Ox said, thank a union member today. Thank a black man in Georgia and Wisconsin today. Thank a Russian bot today. They all showed up and showed out. And best of all, the Democrat shills, you're fired. Yes, they are all fired. It is all time for them to get a new job. They all need to get a new job expeditiously. Okay, that's what they need to do. And for all of you who have provided me, you know, with support today,
you better thank a union member for sick leave. You better thank a union member for paid leave. You better thank a union member for vacation time.
We will never have to listen to Kamala Harris's horrible black scent ever again. It is finished and done. But I want to thank a channel. I want to thank a live viewers for super chats. I want to thank you for supporting the channel, and thank you all for voting for Trump so we don't have to hear her voice anymore. J-Boy said, Donald Trump says, Kamala Harris, you're fired. Yeah, she's fired. She's finished. And she's done. Shout out to Keith Cunningham, who said, Whoopi, stop. You look like the Predator. You look like the Predator. I'm TD and I approve that message. Okay, I approve that message. Papa Naya Shelley said, TD out here trying hard not to Terry. TD, don't look at me like that. Papa Naya Shelley, I promise you, I'm trying real hard to be on my best behavior and not Terry. I'm trying really hard to not Terry, but I'm going to act a fool on that channel later on this evening. But I've been just trying to keep it all in and keep a somewhat professional form. But it's been hard not to act a fool and just be completely ignorant on this stream right now. Shout out to Ross. Ross said, mainstream media doesn't have journalists, they have shills. Podcasters win because of real news and information. Joe sounds silly. The liberals messed up big. That's true. And that's 100% why. I don't know if you guys saw the video that I released last night, you know, concerning, you know, censorship, right? And what Jen Psaki had to say. But that's why they're so big on censoring social media and wanting to, quote, hold social media platforms accountable. They want to do that because the podcaster is winning big right now. Those operating on social media are winning big right now. They hate having this type of competition to where they can't put out the normal propagandized nonsense that they would normally put out, to where it's not challenged by anybody. They open their mouth, and as soon as they open their mouth, folks like me come on here, challenge it, and not just challenge what they're saying, but show that what they're saying isn't true. They're lies, they're false, and they hate that. That's why they're so much so in support of censorship. And once again, as they like to call it, holding social media companies accountable. That just means getting them under control so that they can censor voices that are going against the narrative that they'd like to push. Shout out to my man John Gullery, who said, congratulations, bro. I did vote. I think you meant to say I didn't vote for either, but I am happy for you, and I am laughing at all of these Democrat clowns. Oh, the tears are flowing in the street, man. The DNC tears are flowing all over internet streets. They don't know what to do with themselves. They are so besides themselves. It's not even funny. My man, Untried Genius, shout out to you, bro, for being a channel member for 33 months. I appreciate you. 33 months of service. He said, the left have begun eating their own for at least a decade now. TDS made me into a very... TDS? What does TDS mean? I keep seeing is it Trump derangement syndrome? TDS, I think that's what that is, right? Trump derangement syndrome, TDS, made them, yeah, that's what that means. TDS, Trump derangement syndrome. TDS made them into the very fascists they claim to fight, 100%. They turned into the very people that they claim to be fighting against. That's exactly who they've turned into. They didn't used to always be like that. The Democrat Party that I grew up under, I mean, at least is how they portrayed themselves. Like, they were against, big pharma. They were against war. They were against any type of attacks on freedom of speech. You know what I mean? They were against all the things that seemingly now Republicans are against. It's to a large degree, the Republican Party that I grew up under, that I remember from, years ago when I was a teenager and young adult, like in my early 20s, compared to who they are now, to a large degree, it looks like Democrats and Republicans have kind of switched places concerning these things, So it's very interesting that the Democrats turned into the very people that they claim to be trying to save us for. John Gullery said, a bloodbath. Trump won the popular vote too. Yeah, that's why it was a bloodbath. Not just the Electoral College, but the popular vote too. Cleaned up shop. He completely cleaned up shop, a clean sweep across the board. Shout out to the Girl Shine. The Girl Shine said, what a great day. Thank you, black men, for leading us off the plantation. I'm glad I got my Nat Turner on and was able to lead you all off the plantation, right? Because at the end of the day, you all know I really led you guys into Project 2025. Because if you don't know, if you're new to the channel, I am a Russian bot powered by artificial intelligence and ChatGPT, created by Putin to push misinformation on YouTube and trick Black Americans into voting for Trump. And if you happen to be here and you're white, Hispanic, or Asian, job well done. I've tricked you too. So my job is complete as a misinformation bot created by Putin, right? But yeah, I appreciate you, the girl shines. Thank you for the support. Who do we have next up here? Untried Genius. Untried Genius said Kamala can finally stay home with that middle class family of hers. Right, you go back home with your middle class family. That's what you can do. Go back home to your middle class family and go thank a union member. Brian Thomas, I appreciate you, bro, for coming through with the super sticker. Thank you for the support. I've been seeing the support you've been showing the channel lately, and I appreciate you, Brian. Thank you so much. You got the default name. I appreciate the super sticker, though. Thank you for the support with the default name. Thank you very much. Patrick Tyler said, Black man 23% for Trump. I'm one of them in GA. Oh, you're in Georgia? Yeah. Black man, 23% for Donald Trump. 23%. That number is probably only going to grow with the next election when it comes around, in which I do believe J.D. Vance will be running for president in 2028. And I think it's pretty obvious that he's going to run for president. He's going to become the Republican nominee. And we'll see, how the Democrats are able to counter that. Most likely, J.D. Vance is going to end up being the president in 2028, if you ask me. That's most likely the case. That's most likely what's going to happen. But shout out to you, bro. for coming off the plantation, right? For coming off the plantation and voting for Donald Trump. And lastly, Cab021 said, it's never fun when the rabbit has the gun. Democrats getting a taste of reality and they don't like it. 100. Yeah, they're getting a taste of it. They don't know what to do. They're in a state of rebuilding because they're in complete shambles right now. So they're in a state of rebuilding. What they rebuild themselves into is yet to be seen. Like I said, I do think that they're going to be slowly creeping over into the moderate direction. I don't think they're going to do a hard pivot into being a moderate, but I do see that slowly creeping in. But I mean, we'll just have to wait and see what they do. But right now, they have shattered into 1,000,001 pieces, and they have to pick it all back up and figure out how they're going to put themselves back together again. But with all that being said, man, thank you all for joining me today. Please hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. Share this video out on your social media platforms. And also don't forget, as I keep begging you all, follow me on Telegram at TD Media Group. That is extremely important that you follow me on Telegram. There are still roughly around 800 people here, or 739. I should have 739 new people following me on Telegram if you're not following me on Telegram already. So I'll catch you guys later, man. The link to my Telegram's in the description box below. And it should be pinned in the comment section, and it should be pinned in the live chat as well. Anyways, I'm out of here, man. I got to finish my liberal tears. So I'll catch you guys later. Peace.